Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of No Holds Barred. Yes, this one's come around about a bit quicker than the previous one, although technically, if you're watching this in context, but never mind. This game was fairly shorter compared to the last game we played. Either which way, as you can see by the title, hopefully, but also by the little square in the corner, though it doesn't actually say, we have been playing Deathloop, 200%, well, 100%, my criteria. So every legendary weapon, every upgrade, slab upgrade, that makes sense when you play the game, trust me, and complete the story, which is fairly simple, fairly straightforward. Not a simple story, but completing the story is a fairly straightforward affair when you get into the nitty-gritty of it all. But yes, as is customary, at the end of these journeys, I create these thoughts videos to give me a sort of bookend to the entire saga, to summarise my thoughts, my feelings upon a game, and heck, if it helps you decide whether you want to play it or not, that is entirely up to you. But what is there to say about Deathloop? It is a sort of roguelike, I suppose it is a roguelike game. You play as a chap called Colt Van. You wake up on a beach on the island of Blackreef, and as you progress, you suddenly realise that you have been living a day in repeat. You wake up, you get drunk, you go to sleep, and then you wake up on the exact same beach, hungover again. So, yes, well, actually, that sounds like an almost Saturday evening for some people. But anyway, the idea is that you are trapped in a time loop and you need to figure out how to get out of it. The problem is, however, that everywhere you go there is this mysterious woman, Juliana, who is trying to kill you for reasons that you don't quite understand. As you get into the mechanics of the game, it's an I was going to say an FPG, but that's not, and I don't think that's a thing. It's an FPS. First-person shooter, for those uninitiated. You have 4 areas, as shown there. The complex Updam, Carl's Bay, Fristand Rock. You have 4 time periods of the day, morning, noon, afternoon, and night. And then by doing things at certain times of day in certain locations, you're able to unlock the mysteries of Blackreef. To be honest, one of the strongest aspects of this game is the story. It's phenomenal characters. Is it somewhere like Yakuza's, where it's got many twists and turns? It's got a few, but not really. It's just a fun story. It's a fun story with a bunch of unlikable characters that you get to kill repeatedly. What's not to love? So yes, the idea is that you find out there are 7 visionaries, all of which need to die within a 24-hour time period, else the day will repeat, and your mission is to figure out how to do that. The game is quite good at breadcrumbing your way to the end scenario. You're not left to try and figure it all out for yourself. Some hardcore gamers may not enjoy that as much, but for me, I was more than happy to follow the narrative and see where the game took me. There are side quests, probably would be a very light way of stating it. There are side missions, sub-stories sprinkled out throughout the world. You find a document, sort of like a Skyrim thing. You find a document which mentions, say, a hidden bunker, and then from that you can then go off and find the hidden bunker and get access to that, so you can find all sorts of secrets upon Blackreef, be it part of its history and its past, some of the lore of the world. Interesting point on the lore of the world. I won't spoil. If you've been watching the Let's Play, if you've been following this journey as we've gone on it, you'll know what I mean. But this game isn't so much a standalone as you might think. But anyway, you find these things, you find mini-games out in the world, which gets you rewards. You also find bunkers with lore and all sorts of things and characters. And the main story isn't the only thing. If you go off the beaten path, you will find sub-stories and you will find some very nice things that all tie together at the very end. And there is one sub-story and one character that I was very, very happy that we met and completed. So yes, and well, I think that's as much as I can get out on the story without getting to spoiler territory. How does the rest of the game stand up? Oh, that goes my chair as well. Soundtrack, absolutely fantastic. I love the soundtrack. As you sneak around, it's all sort of like the music you'll hear in the background, very low level and sneaky and mysterious, and then you get epic guitar riffs if you alert an enemy. Sort of like Metal Gear Solid, I suppose, and epic music that kicks in as you fight all of the enemies. Mentioning fighting the enemies, this game is quite brutal. There's no... If you're an expert in FPSs and you're really good at aiming and you're really good at games like that, you will probably have no issue. For me personally, I'm not very good at stealth and I'm not very good at FPSs. So for me, once I alerted the enemies, I more often than not did indeed die. The game is quite forgiving. You have 3 lives before you have to repeat the entire day again. This is optional. There's a settings in the option, which means you can go from anywhere of having zero re-rolls to infinite re-rolls. So if you find the game particularly hard and it's ruining your experience, you can set it so you will never have to reset the day again. You can just sort of have a god mode sort of thing. You do, as you progress, you will get to keep your weapons. Once again, that gets into story spoilers, so I won't go into it. But part of the charm of this game and the building of the gameplay is as you get better weapons, you will be able to do something called infuse them, which means that you get to keep them as you progress through the rest of the game, which obviously makes the game much more fun and much easier to complete. Well, I say complete, 100%. Well, finish, basically, but there we go. Soundtrack-wise, soundtrack's absolutely amazing, but I've already said that. And graphics-wise, I had to knock the graphics settings down for this run because it ate up quite a lot of the VRAM on my graphics card, which interfered with OBS. So if you're going to stream this game, you really should bear that in mind if you're using the NVENC encoder. Otherwise, I'm running on an RTX 2070 Super, so pretty old gen as far as the tech sphere is concerned. Game has run perfectly fine. In terms of processor, I'm running it on much older than that. So yes, I think all in all, very good game. Absolutely loved the ending, loved the story, loved a lot about it. Bit bug, I encountered one bug, maybe several bugs. Sometimes the controls can be a bit screwy, and there was an occasion where we snuck into an enemy encampment, and then all of a sudden the game decided to alert everyone in the room, and I have no idea why, so beware, there may be a few bugs here and there. There is a multiplayer we touched upon. Didn't really play that much of it, but we don't usually on this channel. You play in the multiplayer, you play as Juliana hunting down Colt. If you don't want to have random players jumping into your game, I recommend single player you turn it to single player mode like I have, else you will have people who can just jump into your game and completely ruin your run, because chances are that with the age of the game, they're probably very good at playing this game. And I think that's everything. I think I've covered everything, or at least I've got everything off my chest. Is there anything else? Mention the gameplay, mention the audio, mention the graphics, mention the story as much as I can. No, I think... Oh, voice acting. Colt's voice... all of the voice cast has been absolutely brilliant, but special mention to Colt's voice actor. Colt is just a fantastic character, at least for me. I like a character who has a quick wit. Colt has one, and his VA does a brilliant job of actually just bringing the character to life. And all the other characters. There are so many characters in this game. Characters you hate, characters you love. More so hate than love, to be honest, but that's the nature of Blackreef. You'll figure that out as you play. And now, I think that's everything. So, with that said, thank you for joining us for this No Holds Barred thoughts video, and may you all have a beautiful evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever it is around this whole wide world you are. And as always, until our paths next cross again, the vortex awaits, and I'll see you all next time.